The neurologist's mouth kept moving, but I wasn't hearing anything past relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis. My hands were in my lap, fingers twitching slightly, and all I could think was, I knew something was wrong. I'd ignored the numb toes, the sudden fatigue, the double vision that came and went. I told myself it was just stress, just turning 34 in Michigan's god-awful winters. But here it was, plain and clinical, chronic, progressive. My body was going to turn against me. Slowly, quietly, permanently. The drive home from the hospital felt like I was piloting someone else's truck. My Ford had always been reliable. A blue 05 F-150 with 230,000 miles. A squeaky right speaker, and an air freshener that hadn't smelled like pine in 2 years. It was mine. Solid. Unlike everything else now. When I stepped through the door, Aubrey was standing in the kitchen, drinking coffee in her workout leggings, scrolling her phone. Bella's crayons were scattered on the floor next to the half-colored princess page we hadn't finished before my appointment. I looked at her. Really looked. Blonde hair in a ponytail, bare feet, no makeup. She was beautiful once. Still was, in a cold, catalog model kind of way. I'd fallen for that face. Thought I'd built a life with the woman behind it. I've got something to tell you, I said. She didn't look up. Did you forget to get milk again? No, I stepped closer. I've been having those symptoms again. The numbness, the shaking. They ran more tests. It's confirmed. I have MS. That got her attention. Slowly, her eyes met mine, and something in them was already gone. She didn't come toward me, didn't put the mug down, didn't even blink, just stared, like I'd told her I ran over her yoga mat. What does that mean? She asked. It means I'm going to have to change a lot. There'll be treatment plans, flare-ups. I might not be able to keep working full-time eventually. It's a fight, but manageable. She sipped her coffee. So you're saying you're going to be sick for the rest of your life? I nodded. Yeah. Her jaw flexed. She glanced toward the hallway, where Bella was humming in her room. I can't do this, she said, just like that. No tears, no hesitation. I felt my legs wobble, not from MS, but from the shock. You mean you can't handle me being sick? She put the mug down carefully. I'm sorry, Ryan, but I didn't sign up for this. My mouth went dry. We stood in a church, Aubrey. That was before. She crossed her arms. Before everything. Before this. I'm 32. I still have a life ahead of me. I can't spend it watching you decline. That's not the kind of future I want. I stood there, frozen, like a man watching his house burn from the porch. 3 days later, she handed me divorce papers. No argument, no yelling, just a cold process. And just like that, Bella was gone too. I still remember the sound of the car door closing as they pulled out of the driveway. The latch, the ignition, the gravel under tires. I sat on the porch in the same hoodie I wore that day at the neurologist's office. The wind bit through it. My daughter's sunflower toy was still on the porch swing. She called me Sunflower Dad because of the yellow hoodie I used to wear when I made pancakes. I held it for hours, but I didn't cry. I didn't scream or beg, because that's not who I am. She walked out the moment I needed her most. So be it, but I'd walk the rest of this path on my own terms, even if my legs gave out on the way. Divorce is never fair when one side has a plan and the other is still bleeding. Aubrey filed fast. Hired one of the best lawyers in Grand Rapids. Sleek suit, fake smile. The kind of guy who smelled like expensive betrayal. Me? I was still wrapping my head around the meds I'd have to start. The insurance bills stacking like bricks on my desk, and the silence of a little girl's laughter that used to echo through every hallway. Bella's bedroom still looked the same for a while. Crayon art taped to the wall. Her NASA hoodie crumpled on the floor. Stuffed animals lined up on her bed like they were waiting for roll call. I couldn't bring myself to pack it up, so I didn't. We started with shared custody, at least on paper. Alternate weekends. Some holidays. But it eroded fast. Aubrey claimed my MS made me unfit to handle emergencies. Her lawyer leaned on that hard, painted my fatigue as a danger, my tremors as unpredictability. They used my own honesty against me. I told the court the truth, always have, that I loved my daughter, that I was doing everything in my power to stay healthy, stable, present. Didn't matter. Aubrey cried during the hearing, talked about Bella needing routine, about homeschooling and structure, about how I might collapse during a grocery trip or forget to administer meds. And I sat there, silent, jaw locked, because what do you say when your ex-wife uses your own body against you? The judge leaned toward stability. That's the word they always use when they hand kids to the one with the cleaner image, not the cleaner soul. She moved 3 hours north after the papers were signed. Didn't leave an address, just a P.O. box. Said it was for privacy. What it really meant was, don't follow us. I called. At first, often. No answer. I left voicemails. Hi, it's Dad. I miss you, sunshine. I'm eating your favorite cereal today. Call me if you can. Nothing. Then I started mailing letters, coloring books, birthday cards, audio recordings of me reading the Berenstain Bears. Each envelope was carefully addressed, each one a little lighter than the last, like hope losing weight. Eventually, they stopped being returned, but they also stopped being acknowledged. No reply, no drawings, no letters, nothing. My sister said I should fight harder. My therapist said I needed to let go. But neither of them understood what it's like to watch your own daughter's childhood pass through a window you can't reach. I had one last move, one that felt like losing on purpose just to stop the slow-motion bleeding. I signed over my rights. It wasn't neglect. It wasn't indifference. It was surrender, done not out of weakness, but mercy. Because I knew Aubrey. I knew she'd fight me until Bella hated me. I knew she'd poison every memory until my daughter didn't know who the man in the photos was anymore. So I gave her what she wanted, full custody. No court-mandated visits. No say in anything. But I wrote one final letter. Not to Aubrey. To Bella. I kept it short. Hi, sunshine. You may not understand this now, but I want you to know something. I will always be your father. I will always love you. And even if I'm not there, I am proud of you. Every single day. I hope one day you read this. And I hope you remember pancakes and pajamas and laughing in the blanket fort. Love, Dad. I folded it, taped it shut, wrote in big bold letters across the front, for Bella, when she asks. I mailed it to the same P.O. box I'd sent everything else. No return address. After that, I stopped writing, stopped hoping. I went back to physical therapy, picked up part-time CAD work. I learned how to make one good meal per week and freeze it in 7 containers. I got used to silence. It wasn't peace. Not yet. But it was mine. The knock came on a Tuesday. That kind of knock you don't expect. Measured, cautious, but firm. I'd been doing dishes, letting hot water soothe my hands while the space heater clicked behind me. Winters up here got into your bones. And the MS didn't help. I wasn't expecting anyone. I opened the door with the towel still in my hand. And there they were. Aubrey, Bella, and some guy in a beige suit holding a leather folder. My stomach didn't drop. It clenched tight, like the whole world was waiting for my reaction before it dared to breathe. Bella looked older, taller. Her hair was longer, pulled into a braid that flopped over her shoulder. She was bundled in a red coat and clutched a stuffed dog to her chest. She looked up at me the way someone might look at a landmark from a postcard that finally came to life. Aubrey? She looked the same. Polished, cold, determined. Her expression was neutral, like we were ex-co-workers running into each other at a bank. Ryan, she said, voice smooth and professional. Can we come in? I didn't answer. Just step aside and let them pass. The man lawyer, obviously, offered a tight smile as he followed. I didn't bother with pleasantries. I wasn't interested in handshakes from men paid to pretend they cared. They sat at the kitchen table. I stood. Bella stared at me. Are you really him? She asked quietly. I swallowed. Yeah, I'm Dad. Her lip quivered like she was trying to decide between crying and smiling. I didn't move. I didn't run to hug her. I just watched. She was real. She was here. And she looked like both of us. Aubrey cleared her throat. She found one of your old letters. The one about pancakes and the blanket fort. She's been asking questions ever since. I nodded slowly. I figured she would, eventually. The lawyer opened the folder and slid a paper across the table. I didn't touch it. What's this? I asked. Aubrey folded her hands. We want to give you the opportunity to reconnect. Bella wants to know you. But things have been difficult since Colin left. Colin, my partner. He's not in the picture anymore. And, I said, arms crossed. And, she continued, I've been homeschooling, which limits my income. Bella's getting older. I need things. Therapy. Supplies. I've exhausted a lot of my resources. The air turned colder than the wind outside. The lawyer chimed in. Ms. Cooper is requesting a fair and voluntary child support arrangement in light of renewed contact. I looked at him, then at Aubrey, then at Bella, whose eyes were locked on the stuffed dog in her lap. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shout or curse. I walked over to the drawer, pulled out a thin manila envelope, and laid it on the table. Inside was a certified copy of the parental rights termination I signed 3 years ago. I opened it gently and pushed it across the table. You had what you wanted, I said. You fought me tooth and nail to keep me out of her life. You told a court I was unfit. You moved without notice. You cut every line of communication. And I accepted that. Aubrey's lips pressed tight. You don't get to erase me? Then reprint me with a price tag. I said. She just wants to know you, Aubrey snapped. And I'm trying to give you that chance. But raising a child isn't free. I smiled, but it wasn't kind. It was the smile you give a snake before cutting its head off. No, I said. You're giving you a chance. A chance to fix your finances. A chance to shift the burden. Don't pretend this is about Bella. The lawyer started to speak, but I held up a hand. I'm not obligated, legally, financially, or emotionally to you. I looked at Bella. But her, I said, voice softening. I'll always be her father. And when she's old enough to want a relationship that's hers, not arranged with invoices and signatures, I'll be here, without lawyers, without strings, just Dad. Bella looked up. Our eyes met, and something passed between us that no paperwork could touch. Aubrey stood, gathering her things. You're making a mistake. No, I said. I made the mistake 3 years ago, loving a woman who could walk out on a man just because he got sick. She said nothing as she walked to the door. Bella followed, hesitating just a moment before stepping out into the cold. I didn't chase. I didn't explain. I closed the door behind them and leaned against it. My hands shook, not from MS this time, but from adrenaline. But I didn't crumble, because I knew now, hope isn't something you buy back. It knocks when it's real, and when it comes back without a price, that's when you answer. It came a week later, Wednesday morning. I found it wedged between an electric bill and some coupon booklet addressed to current resident. Just a plain white envelope. No return address. No handwriting I recognized. But the second I touched it, I knew. The paper was thin. The ink bled just a little on the edges, like someone gripped the pen too tight. The name on the front was mine, written in a careful, slanted script. Inside was one page, folded twice. Asterisk, Hi Dad. I hope it's okay I call you that. I found a letter from you with a sunflower sticker. I remembered the pancakes and the fort. I remembered how you used to carry me on your shoulders and pretend I could touch the ceiling. I don't know why you weren't there after that. I used to ask, but Mom got mad. I don't want to be mad anymore. I just wanted to write. I don't know if you'll answer. I just wanted to say, I remember. From Bella asterisk. I didn't cry. That's not how I work. Never have. I sat down, folded the letter back up, and held it in my hands like something sacred. Then I got to work. Not frantic, not emotional. Deliberate. I pulled out a fresh yellow notepad and my best pen, the one I used for job site sketches when I still had the stamina for field work, the one Bella once used to doodle stars on my invoices when she was 2. I wrote slowly, careful. Hi sunshine, you can always call me Dad. You always were, and always will be, my girl. I never left you. I was told I couldn't be there anymore, but I never stopped thinking about you. I never stopped hoping you'd remember our pancakes and ceiling touches. I still have that NASA hoodie. I won't pressure you. I won't ask questions you're not ready to answer. You don't have to pick sides. You don't owe me anything. Just know this. I never stopped loving you. And if you ever want to write again, I'll be right here. Love always. Dad. I didn't include a phone number, just the address and a single sunflower sticker in the corner of the envelope. The same ones she used to sneak onto my lunch bags. I walked it to the mailbox myself. I didn't trust the cold fingers that came with winter mornings, so I dropped it in with steady hands and a locked jaw. Back inside, I stood in the doorway and let myself breathe. This wasn't a victory. This wasn't justice. This was a moment. And sometimes, that's more than enough. I didn't know if she'd write again. I didn't know if she'd get in trouble for this one. I didn't know if Aubrey would intercept my reply or burn it. But I knew Bella reached out without anyone's permission. And that was the first real sign of hope I'd seen in 4 years. Not a lawyer. Not a courtroom win. Not some forced reunion with strings. Just a kid writing a letter to her dad. No agenda. No demands. Just a memory. And a pen. Bella showed up 3 days before Christmas. Not with Aubrey. Not with a suitcase. Just with my sister, Megan, who rang the doorbell like she'd done 1,000 times before. But this time she didn't smile when I opened the door. She wants to spend a few days with you, Megan said, stepping aside. Bella stood there with her backpack on, clutching a rolled-up sleeping bag and wearing the same NASA hoodie I thought was long gone. Her eyes were cautious, but not scared. I didn't ask questions. I didn't press. I just opened the door wider and said, "Breakfast for dinner sounds good?" Her lips twitched. "Only if there's whipped cream." I grinned. "I think we can make that happen." Megan winked and backed down the steps without another word. I'd ask about the logistics later, how she got Aubrey to agree, what she had to threaten or promise. But for now, I had one mission: make pancakes. From scratch. The kind with crisp edges and little chocolate chips hidden like treasure. We cooked side by side, just like we used to. She cracked the eggs. I measured the flour. She laughed when the baking powder puffed out of the can and dusted my shirt. We didn't talk about the years that vanished. We didn't talk about Aubrey. We didn't talk about why the court said one thing and her heart said another. We just stirred, flipped, and poured maple syrup until it drowned the plate. After dinner, we curled up on the couch under my oldest quilt, the one she used to wrap herself in like a burrito when she was sick. She picked the movie, Finding Nemo. I didn't argue. I'd watched that fish swim home 100 times. I'd watch it 100 more if it meant sitting beside her again. Halfway through, she leaned into me without a word, head on my chest, hair smelling like strawberries and kid shampoo. I didn't move, just wrapped my arm around her and let the moment anchor itself. "Do you still have it?" she asked quietly. "Have what?" "The hoodie. The yellow one." I nodded and gestured to the hallway. "Top drawer, under the flannels." "You want it." She didn't answer. She just stood, padded down the hallway in socks too big for her feet, and came back wearing it like armor. It swallowed her now. The sleeves dangled past her hands. But she smiled. A full, unguarded, Bella smile. "You used to wear this when we made pancakes," she said. "I remember. I used to say it made you look like a sunflower. I remember that, too." She curled up next to me again, this time under the hoodie like it was a shield against everything broken. "I don't hate you," she whispered, eyes still on the screen. I didn't say anything. I just held her a little closer. That night, I tucked her into the guest bed with the same stuffed dog she'd brought to my door weeks ago. I turned off the light and sat outside the room for 20 minutes, just listening to her breathe. The next morning, we made hot cocoa and walked through the snowy backyard. She threw a snowball at me, terrible aim, and when I mock collapsed into the snow, she shrieked with laughter and tackled me like it was 10 years ago. We built a snow fort, ate peanut butter sandwiches, played Uno with music on low. No tension, no storm clouds, just small, deliberate moments. Megan picked her up after 3 days. Bella hugged me tight. "Can I come back next month? If it's up to me?" "Always." She reached into her pocket and handed me a folded piece of notebook paper. I wrote this last night. You can't open it until I'm gone. I nodded, tucked it into my chest pocket, and didn't look at it until the taillights disappeared down the icy road. I opened it slow. Dear Dad, I don't know what's supposed to come next, but I like this. I like that you still know how to make pancakes. I like that you didn't make me talk about everything. I like that you still had the hoodie. I want to come back, not just for holidays. I don't know how yet, but I want to. Love, Bella. P.S. I still hate syrup on eggs. I folded the letter and placed it next to the sunflower one-eyed kept all these years. 2 pieces of paper, 4 years apart, but somehow, they built a bridge no court could burn. Her name was Ariana. We met at a local book drive. She taught 7th grade English and made everything sound like a plot twist waiting to happen. Quick to laugh, quicker to lean in. We bonded over a mutual love of sci-fi and breakfast for dinner. She liked that I could cook without burning the house down, and I liked that she didn't flinch when I told her about MS. At first, it felt like something real. Honest. We took things slow. Coffee dates turned into walks through the park. We danced once in my kitchen to some old 80s song neither of us knew the words to. She liked how steady I was, how I didn't play games. I liked that she didn't try to fix me, just showed up, present and warm. One night, we were sitting on my back porch, her legs draped over mine, blanket around both of us. She told me about the debt, $18,000 in student loans hanging over her like a storm cloud. Her voice trembled a bit when she said it, like she was embarrassed. I've been chipping away at it, she said, but it feels like quicksand. I didn't say anything right away. I just nodded. Let her talk. That's what a man does. He listens. Not to fix, not to impress, just to understand. She never asked me for help, but 3 days later, I made a call. I had a modest savings account tucked away, the kind you build from years of working, hurting, healing, and not wasting a damn thing. I'd been saving it for Bella college, maybe braces, a future I wasn't sure I'd ever get to be part of. But Ariana had been kind. She made my world feel soft again. So I paid off her loans. Didn't tell her right away. Waited until we were sitting at the same table where Bella and I made pancakes. I slid the confirmation letter across the table. Quiet. Simple. She blinked at it. Read it twice. Then looked at me, stunned. You paid it off? Yeah. Why? I shrugged. Because you matter. Because it was dragging you down. Because I wanted to. She cried. Said no one had ever done something like that for her. Hugged me so tight I felt my ribs creak. That night, I thought maybe, just maybe, I'd found someone who saw me. Not just what I'd been through, but who I still was. That lasted 5 days. We were at brunch with her sister, Natalia. Trendy place. Exposed brick, overpriced waffles, too many people who said vibes without irony. I was already out of place. Natalia talked fast. Money this, boyfriend that, her car needing repairs and how some people have it easier than others. Ariana stayed quiet. Then, out of nowhere, she said it. You should help her, Ryan. You're good at that. I raised an eyebrow. Help her. With the loan stuff. She's drowning too. I set my fork down. Ariana, I helped you because I care about you. That wasn't a service plan. Her smile froze. I know, but if you love me, helping my family shouldn't be a debate. That right there, that was the test. It wasn't about generosity. It was about leverage, a weighing of my worth based on my wallet. I didn't answer. I paid the check, walked her home, kissed her forehead, and told her I had some thinking to do. That night, I sat in the living room, staring at the sunflower letters on my desk and the loan confirmation beside them. One was real. One was currency. I knew what I had to do. The next morning, I woke up early. Not to a noise, not from pain. Just clarity. By 7:15 a.m., I was on the phone with the loan provider. The woman on the other end sounded startled when I asked to reverse the payment. Sir, that's unusual. May I ask why? You can ask, I said, but I'm not answering. Just process the reversal before it clears. There was a pause, then a quiet, understood. I hung up. Simple as that. That afternoon, I cleaned the house, swept the kitchen, vacuumed the hallway, took down the half-dead houseplant Ariana said added energy to the living room. I boxed up the framed photo she gave me of us in front of the county fair sign, taped the box, labeled it with one word, return. Then I waited. She came by that evening, like clockwork, smiled like nothing had happened, kissed my cheek, kicked off her boots, dropped her purse on the counter. I handed her the box. "What's this?" she asked, smiling nervously. "It's your stuff." She blinked. "Wait, what? Ryan, what is this?" "I called the loan office this morning. Reversed the payment. It hasn't been posted yet." Her smile faded like sunset over ice. "You're kidding." "No." She crossed her arms. "You said it was a gift." "It was. Until you turned it into a test." Her voice sharpened. "So because I brought up my sister." "You didn't bring it up, Ariana. You implied I was only worthy if I kept paying. You leveraged the word love like a coupon." She stepped back like I'd slapped her. "That's not fair. You're twisting this." "No," I said calmly. "What's not fair is watching someone turn kindness into currency. I helped you because I thought you were different. Turns out, I was the investment. I never asked for anything," she snapped. "Exactly," I said. "You didn't have to. That was the con." Her eyes shimmered, but no tears fell. The silence between us wasn't angry. It was surgical, cutting clean through whatever fantasy I'd built around her. "I thought you were better than this," she whispered. "No," I said, grabbing my jacket. "You thought I was easy. You thought because I'd been through hell, I'd cling to anyone who smiled. You thought you could be next in line to take a piece and go." She didn't say a word as I walked her to the door. I held it open. She grabbed the box with both hands, lips pressed tight, but I saw the spark in her eyes, the one that flickers when a mask finally cracks. Before she stepped out, she turned. "You'll be alone forever if you keep doing this, testing people." I gave her a long look. "No, Ariana. I don't test people. I just stop pretending once they test me." She left without another word. The wind slammed the door behind her. I stood there for a moment, letting the silence settle back in. Some men chase love like a finish line. I've learned to spot the difference between love and leverage. Love doesn't ask for receipts. Love doesn't keep score. And love sure as hell doesn't come with a payment plan. I don't use TikTok. Never did. But my buddy from work, Troy, the only guy who still calls me Coop, sent me a message with a link and 3 words. "You seeing this?" I tapped it open. There she was. Natalia, Ariana's sister, full makeup, camera angled just right, sipping a mimosa and giggling. So I told this guy he was broke because he wouldn't pay off my student loans. Like, imagine being that tight. "Sir, if you want to date a teacher, be prepared to pay tuition." Okay. Laughs. Hashtags. Fake humility. The whole performance. 10 seconds later, Ariana walked into the frame, clearly trying to act casual. She smirked at the camera. He said, "Kindness shouldn't come with an invoice." Like he's Gandhi with a savings account. They burst out laughing, toasted their drinks. That was the mask slipping. Right there, for the world to see. I didn't throw away my phone. Didn't swear. Just closed the app and deleted the link. I didn't need to watch it again. Some truths only need telling once. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. "Natalia, hey, I'm really sorry about everything. You were honestly such a good guy. Maybe we should talk sometime." I stared at it for a long second, then blocked her number. 15 minutes later, a new message popped up. "Ariana, I've been going to therapy. A lot came up. I see what I did now, and I'm sorry. Can we just talk? No expectations." I didn't reply right away. I walked out to the porch. The sun was setting, one of those sharp Michigan dusks that cuts the sky in half. Red above, frost below. Bella had drawn something on the glass with her finger the last time she was here. A lopsided smiley face with spiky hair. I stood there for a while, remembering how Ariana once said I was too cold, how she hated my silences. Said they felt like locked doors she couldn't kick open. She was right. I have a locked door now. But not because I'm cold. Because I've learned to keep things out. Because I've finally figured out the value of peace and the cost of letting the wrong person sit across your table. I walked back in and typed one line. Ryan, take care. That was it. 2 words. No guilt. No drama. No lecture. I didn't need a final blow-up. I didn't need her tears or some big reveal. I just needed to end the chapter like a man, not with fireworks, but with full control of the pen. The next morning, I deleted her number. No regrets. Later that day, I got a letter from Bella. No envelope this time, just a folded page in my mailbox. Dad, I told Mom I want to visit more. She said maybe, but I talked to Aunt Megan, and she said she's going to help. I drew a picture of the pancakes. You looked funny with flour on your face. Love you. Bella. Taped to the back was a drawing. 2 stick figures at a stove. One wore a hoodie. The other had a ponytail and a big smile. In the corner, a sunflower with legs waved at me. I pinned it to the fridge. And just like that, all the noise, Ariana, Natalia, the TikTok, the texts, faded to static. Because I remembered what mattered. Not being wanted for what I gave, but being remembered for who I am. The second toothbrush showed up quietly. Pink handle. Sparkles down the grip. Tucked next to mine like it belonged there. No announcement. No discussion. Just there. Then came the hair ties. One on the bathroom sink. One looped around the gear shifter in my truck. Another on the armrest of the couch. Like she was marking territory one strand of hair at a time. Bella didn't say much about the past. I didn't ask. That was the deal. Unspoken but firm. We weren't here to dissect what happened. We were here to build something new, piece by piece. She started coming on long weekends, holidays, then by accident on Mondays after staying over Sunday night. Megan handled the coordination, quietly, like it was a backdoor deal with the universe. Our time wasn't dramatic. It was real. We cooked. We walked. We watched Big Hero 6 twice in a row. She helped me sort screws in the garage like it was a treasure hunt. We argued once over whether strawberries belonged in cereal. They do. She disagrees. Sometimes she'd ask questions that cut through years like a hot blade. Did you miss me every day? Every one, I'd say. And I meant it. Why didn't you fight harder? I looked her in the eye. Because the harder I fought, the more damage it would have done to you. She didn't speak for a long time after that one. But she hugged me tighter that night. She doesn't call me Ryan anymore. She calls me Dad. The first time she said it again, it was casual, like she hadn't stopped for 4 years. Dad, can we get pizza instead of cooking tonight? I didn't answer right away, just nodded. Drove to the same cheap place I used to take her when she had a fever and only wanted breadsticks. Later that night, when she was asleep in the guest room turned her room, I stood in the doorway and watched her breathe. That sound, soft, steady, safe, meant more than any apology ever could. I'd stopped needing closure, stopped needing justice, stopped needing anyone to explain why they left. Because now, she was here. The house felt different with her in it. More alive. Not noisy, just full. Like the silence finally meant something good. One afternoon, she brought over a book she made for school. A scrapbook project. There was a page labeled Family. She glued in a photo of the 2 of us, standing next to the snow fort from last winter. Her caption read, "This is my dad. He makes pancakes, fixes stuff, and has a yellow hoodie that makes him look like a flower. He never gave up on me, even when I was gone." I didn't cry, but I kept that page on my desk for a long time. No legal battle won it. No romantic redemption arc. Just time. Patience. One letter. One visit. One honest moment at a time. I still have MS. Some days are harder than others. But Bella doesn't flinch when I need to rest. She gets it. She knows strength looks different on every man. I didn't need to fight fire with fire. I needed to hold the line until something good found its way back through the smoke. And now I've got a toothbrush next to mine, pancake syrup on the counter, and a kid who calls me dad again. That's enough. More than enough.